This week's episode sponsored in memory of Yaakov ben Rabbi Meir. May his soul be elevated and may his family have true comfort. We're into right now one of the most intense periods of time throughout the whole year. It's called the 9 days. It starts today and it lasts all the way until the Tisha B'Av. And this period of time has a bit of confusion, I believe, because we're in a period of mourning. And so we think we're supposed to be sad all day. Now, no one likes to feel sad. No one likes to wake up in the morning happy and be like, oh, right, I got to be sad. So a lot of people spend this time basically distracting themselves. Like they're not really paying attention. Nobody likes this week. Nobody utilizes this week. Everybody wants this week to be done. Everyone gets excited for the end of this week. And I think the core reason is because we make a key distinction, a key mistake. We're supposed to be in mourning. Does that mean you're supposed to be sad? So I told this story over a year or two ago. I want to share it again with different names. Imagine the fictitious story of a man named David Smith. David's a good guy. His father, he calls his friend, he's close to, right? He speaks to his dad, he respects his dad. One day he gets a phone call that there was a terrible accident and his father was being rushed to the hospital. He runs to the hospital and he's met with the doctors, and doctors say, we did everything we could, he didn't make it. David's crushed. His father. Next day in the funeral, he gets up and speaks, and he's reminded of when he was a kid and how his father helped him and took care of him and all the things he learned from him. And other people get up and speak about how great he is, and David's in the front row. He's broken into Shiva. People walk in, stories about his father. Every day it's harder and harder. He's thinking to himself, I wish I would have spent more time. I wish I would have been more focused. I got so busy with my life. I spoke to my dad, but I didn't realize what I had, and now that it's lost. The last day Shiva, the doctors come in from the hospital to pay respects. And they're sitting in the room and they look over to David and they say, it's so interesting. Who's the man, Jonathan Smith? David says, it's my dad. He says, your dad's Jonathan Smith? Well, yeah. The doctors look at each other and he goes, what? He goes, Jonathan Smith? The person who died, his name was Jordan Smith. Jonathan Smith is still in the hospital. He's recovering. Imagine. Let me ask you a question. A week ago, Dave forgot to call his dad. Right? A week ago, Dave, figured out he'll see his dad next month. But this week, if you would have put a brick wall between him and that door, would he have broken through the wall? You better believe it. How come? Same guy, same dad. What changed? The answer is one thing. Focus. He spent a week on thinking that he'd lost his dad. He spent a week at a funeral and a shiva where all they spoke about was the great qualities of his dad. And when you spend a week focusing on that which you thought you lost and how awesome it would be and how much you missed, you know what ends up happening? You build up a love for it again. That same person, 1 week later, totally different person. You know what this week's about? It's not about sadness. It's about mourning. And mourning is focusing on what we had. We used to have a world that was godly. We used to have a point where we saw miracles. All of us walk around with, is God really? How could God bring? There was a time where it was clear. There was a time when things worked in a way of values and morals. There was a time where I walked around and felt the bounce in my step because I had a relationship with the creator of humanity. This period of time is not to be sad. It's to be focused. So that we realize what we once had. And when we realize that our Father in heaven didn't die, he's there waiting for us. We don't become sad during this week. We become focused. We become courageous and brave to go find him, to go bring him into this world. We become deeper people that want bigger things in life than the small materialism that we've become happy enough with. The great Nasiba Shalom writes in his book that the hours of this week of the 9 days is 216 hours, because that's the numerical value of Aryeh, which is a lion. You know how you know you're doing the 9 days right? When you come out like a lion looking for God. This week could be the most powerful week of our year and our lives. If we spend the time thinking about what we lost, what life could look like with godliness, with God revealing himself to the world, what the world can look like. My life can be like, with clarity and meaning and purpose and depth. We become focused, we become brave and courageous, we become ready to do anything possible to find our Father. That's the 9 days. Not sad. Powerful. Mourning that leads to us being even greater, to unleashing the lion that's within.